Okay, so we're diving into something pretty interesting today. You've all given us a bunch of great starting points, all this information about premium materials for custom planner covers. And, well, that's exactly what we're going to explore.
Yeah, really get into it.
We want you to come away from this, with a solid understanding of like what your options are when you're looking at these materials.
Right, because there are so many.
Exactly.
And I think we've got 5 really interesting ones lined up,
Mm,
each one with its own distinct character, its own advantages. Hopefully you'll be able to figure out by the end which one is kind of the best fit for you.
absolutely. So let's jump right in. The 5 premium contenders we're looking at. We've got PU leather, we've got craft paper, high quality fabric. We've got this really interesting combo of coffee grounds and cork, and of course, PET.
A lot of variety there.
Yeah, and some surprising aspects to each one. So I think you'll uncover some really useful insights here.
Definitely. And it's not just about how they look, right? Like we'll also be thinking about uh, how they hold up, how durable they are, what their environmental impact is, different ways that you can personalize them.
Yeah, exactly. So much to consider.
Yeah.
All right, let's kick things off with a choice that a lot of people go for, especially if they're looking for a certain, touch of class, a little bit of elegance. PU leather.
Yeah.
It's got that, I don't know, it definitely brings a certain image to mind when you think PU leather.
It does, yeah. Like PU leather, or, polyurethane leather, as it's
Yeah.
also known, has become really popular for custom planner covers. And for good reason, right? It's
Yeah.
got that kind of sophisticated look of real leather, of genuine leather,
Yeah.
but it's generally more affordable. And I think from a practical standpoint, it's generally pretty easy to keep clean, pretty easy to maintain, so that's a big plus.
Absolutely. So, if you're somebody who wants that elegant feel but doesn't necessarily, want to be spending all their time like taking care of it, PU leather could be a good option.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a good balance, I think.
Totally. And it's not just about the initial, how it looks when you first get it, but how does PU leather hold up over time?
Yeah.
Like how durable is it really?
The durability is pretty good. The way the polyurethane is structured actually gives it good resistance to scratches and just, the kind of daily wear and tear that a planner is going to go through, being shoved into bags and, all that kind of stuff. We've even seen some data suggesting that planners made with PU leather can actually last like up to 30% longer than those made with some less robust materials.
Wow, 30% longer lifespan. That's not insignificant.
Yeah, no, it's a real difference, especially if you're someone who uses their planner, day in, day out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, let's say you've decided, okay, I'm into PU leather. Now you're thinking about, well, I want to add a personal touch to this. So how customizable is it?
Pretty customizable. You can, you can get different looks through different textures. So, some PU leather is very smooth, some has more of a grain. But in terms of actually making it like uniquely yours, there's a lot you can do.
Okay.
You can do embossing, which creates like a subtle raised D design.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
you can do foiling, which adds a metallic kind of sheen, and even full color printing.
Yeah.
So, whether you just want like a minimalist embossed logo or you want a full-on colorful design, it can handle it.
That's amazing. So initials, designs, PU leather's up for it.
Yeah, it's pretty versatile.
All right. Well, another thing that's, becoming increasingly important to people these days is thinking about the environmental footprint of the products that they choose. So where does PU leather fall on that spectrum?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And it's a complex one, But compared to traditional leather, the process of, tanning animal hides,
Yeah.
PU leather is often considered a more environmentally conscious choice, and that's something that resonates with a lot of people these days.
Right.
Consumers are much more aware of sustainability issues.
Absolutely.
So opting for a PU leather planner could be a good way to kind of align with those values.
For sure. Okay, let's shift gears completely. Aesthetically,
Okay.
let's talk about craft paper. I feel like craft paper has really had a moment lately.
Huge, yeah.
You see it everywhere.
Yeah.
What do you think is driving its popularity?
It's interesting. I think, craft paper has this wonderful, natural kind of almost homespun charm.
Yeah.
It's very versatile,
Mhm.
But I think there's a real, there's an organic quality to it that appeals to people, especially those who are looking for, eco-friendly options, something with a more tactile, less processed feel.
Yeah, I can totally see that. It's got that unbleached look,
Right.
and it just feels different in your hand.
Yeah.
What about when it comes to personalizing it?
Well, it's great for that too.
Mhm.
You can use techniques like stamping,
Yeah.
which can give it a really classic, almost vintage aesthetic.
Yeah.
Printing works well on it, of course.
Hmm.
And because of its texture, it's a little bit porous. Even hand-drawn illustrations can look really, really good on craft paper. So it really caters to that artisanal DIY kind of vibe that a lot of people are into.
Oh, totally. So if you're crafty, if you're into that kind of, personal touch, craft paper's got a lot to offer.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, when I think paper, my mind doesn't immediately go to something that's going to hold up to a lot of use.
Mm,
So how durable is craft paper really as a planner cover?
that's a good question, and it's kind of surprising because
Yeah.
it's a natural material. It seems delicate, but craft paper is surprisingly resilient.
Okay.
It really can withstand, daily use, being thrown in a bag.
Yeah.
And there have been some really interesting reports, actually. Some companies have found that there's actually a 20% higher customer satisfaction rate for planners with craft paper covers.
Right.
And that's thought to be both because of the tactile quality, so how it feels in your hand, and just that natural aesthetic.
20% higher satisfaction. That's huge. It really speaks to how sometimes choosing something a little less conventional can really resonate with people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And of course, being paper-based, it must have pretty good environmental credentials.
It does. It's fully recyclable.
Yeah.
So that's a major plus.
Amazing. Okay, on to something that, it feels like it opens up a whole other world of sensory possibilities.
Yeah.
High quality fabric as a planner cover. I mean, that sounds like it could be really, allow for a lot of expression.
Definitely. I mean, using high quality fabric gives you almost endless options for adding, personality, flair.
Hmm.
Think about, fabrics like canvas, which is super durable and has a nice texture, denim, which has its own rugged appeal, smooth cotton, Each one brings a different kind of visual character.
Yeah.
And that tactile experience, how it feels when you touch it.
Yeah, I can imagine, like, even just a tightly woven cotton versus, like, a canvas would feel so
Yep.
different in your hands.
Completely different.
So how important is that, that tactile element for people who choose fabric covers?
I think it's pretty significant. I think for a lot of people, engaging with those textures adds a whole other layer of satisfaction
Yeah.
to using their planner.
Right.
Becomes more than just a functional object.
Totally. And what about customization?
Oh, the possibilities are endless. You can combine fabrics with all sorts of embellishments. Like think about buttons, ribbons, little charms. Embroidery is huge.
Oh, yeah.
Allows for really intricate designs. And then patches. Like that's a great way to showcase your interest, maybe your favorite bands or whatever it is.
Mm.
And we've seen some data that suggests that planners with embroidered fabric can actually generate like 25% more interest from consumers.
Wow, that's pretty significant.
It is, and it makes sense, right? Because it's so visually appealing.
Totally, yeah. It feels very bespoke, like, handcrafted.
Exactly.
So I'm also curious, when we're thinking about the shape and the construction of the planner, does fabric offer any advantages over other materials?
It does because it's flexible.
Mhm.
Fabric covers tend to be more, they're less rigid.
Okay.
So you can have more unique shapes, maybe less traditionally structured designs.
Mhm.
Plus, you've got that incredible variety of colors and patterns available in fabrics.
Mhm.
So, it really lets people make their planner not just a tool, but a reflection of their style.
That's amazing. So it's really an extension of your personality.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's move on to a truly innovative and eco-conscious option. This blend of coffee grounds and cork.
Yeah, it's a cool one.
This definitely piqued my interest when I first saw it.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
Well, it's a really interesting approach to sustainability.
Yep.
Because it's not just about using recycled content. It's about creating something that looks and feels different.
Yeah.
It has a real uniqueness to it.
And it's coffee grounds and cork. How are those two materials even combined?
It's kind of magical. But basically, the finely ground coffee
Mm-hmm.
is integrated into the cork material. So often that's done by mixing it with a natural binder and then combining it with cork granules.
Okay.
And what you get is a material that has, the coffee grounds give it a really rich color, and often it's got these subtle variations, so each cover is going to look a little bit different.
Oh, wow.
And then you've got the cork, which gives it strength, a nice feel, and it's also naturally water resistant.
Okay.
So, it's a nice kind of synergy there.
So it's got the unique look from the coffee and then the durability and the practicality from the cork.
Exactly.
That's a really smart combination.
Yeah.
Now, for people who are, really environmentally conscious, how does this kind of material, how do they respond to it?
It's a big hit. Um, you know, planners made from this type of material are estimated to attract about 15% more interest from environmentally conscious consumers.
Wow.
So that's pretty significant. And it makes sense, right? It's a really tangible way for people to demonstrate their, commitment to sustainability.
Absolutely.
By choosing something like this, you're essentially taking something that might have been waste and turning it into a beautiful, functional product.
And that's a significant portion of the market that really values that.
It is, yeah.
All right. So we've got this really interesting material, this blend. What about in terms of personalization? Can you customize it?
Definitely. This material works really well with laser engraving.
Okay.
So, you can etch intricate patterns, personalized details,
Yeah.
really enhances that, that inherent unique character of the material. And again, it makes a statement. It's like you're not just carrying around a planner, you're carrying around this piece of modern, environmentally responsible living.
I love that. That sounds so cool. Okay, finally, let's talk about PT. Now, I know you mentioned earlier this is something we see a lot in packaging, so it
Mhm.
might not be the first material that comes to mind for a premium planner cover. So help us out here. Like, what makes peat special? What makes it stand out?
So yeah, PT or polyethylene terephthalate. If you say the whole name, it sounds very technical.
It does.
But you're right. I think when people hear petalate, they think plastic bottles, food containers.
Right, right. Not necessarily high end.
Yeah, but actually, the qualities that make it good for those things
Yeah.
also make it really good for planner covers. So, it's incredibly durable. It's very strong. It can withstand a lot of handling, a lot of wear.
So it's built to last.
Yeah,
You can really throw in your bag and not worry about it.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I think, what's even more compelling these days is the fact that it can be and very often is manufactured from recycled plastics. So it really speaks to that whole, sustainability movement that we're seeing.
Yeah, for sure.
There have been surveys, actually, that have shown like a 30% higher level of interest from buyers
Yeah.
who are specifically seeking out eco-friendly products.
30%. Wow.
Yeah. And PT fits right into that.
Yeah,
You're supporting the circular economy by choosing something like that.
absolutely. So it's not just durable, it's also got, it's ticking that box for sustainability as well.
Yeah.
Now, what about aesthetics? Can you really get, a premium look and feel from recycled plastic?
You really can.
Yeah.
PT is surprisingly versatile. It can be produced with different finishes, so you can have a glossy look. You can have a more matte, understated look.
Okay.
It can handle vibrant colors, colorful prints,
Mm-hmm.
and it can even incorporate transparent elements. So, think about that, like having a clear window in your planner cover, that kind of thing.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, like a design element.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's really cool. So it sounds like peat really is, it's got a lot going for it. It's practical, it's visually appealing, and it's got that sustainability angle.
Yeah, it's kind of the total package in a lot of ways.
For sure. Well, we've taken a pretty comprehensive look at these 5 premium materials. We talked about PU leather, that elegant, affordable option. We talked about craft paper, the rustic, eco-friendly choice. We talked about high-quality fabric, all the tactile luxury and personalization that comes with that. And then, of course, the innovative sustainability of coffee grounds and cork, and then that durable, recycled nature of PT.
It's amazing to see the range, isn't it?
It really is, and how
Definitely.
each of these materials kind of speaks to different priorities and values. So for you listening, really take a moment to think about, what do you value most in a planner cover? Is it the sophisticated look, the way it feels, the impact it has on the environment, the ability to make it your own? Think about which of these materials really resonates with your individual needs, and I think even more importantly, with your values.
Yeah, because it's not just about, selecting a material. It's about making a choice that reflects what's important to you.
Absolutely. And I think that's such an important point. Think beyond the immediate practicalities of it.
Yeah.
Think about how the material you choose for something as personal as your planner can be a way of, expressing who you are, even your broader perspective on the world.
Yeah, it's almost like a statement, like what kind of statement do you want your planner to make about you?
Exactly.
It's food for thought, for sure.
Absolutely.